You gotta love it when a Japanese developer and publisher allows anyone in the world to play their games. A number of Japanese imports are available to be played on any Xbox 360 unit, and one in particular caught my eye by offering $400 worth of content on a single disc. But more on that later. In an age when most shooters have shifted to huge, razor-sharply detailed and well-animated HD sprites, Eschatos from Qt has a very different look and feel from most of the shooters on the 360. With a decidedly Naomi-esque polygon graphics engine and sound style that reeks of the Mega Drive sound chip in the best possible way. It also has some of the most in-depth gameplay I've ever been addicted to. Let's take a look. The game flow of Eschatos is quite a bit different than most of the shooters out there. There's really no time for a breather as each of the game's 26 areas flow right into the next without pause. This is a pretty neat way to do things and keeps you on your toes with no needless filler. On the outset, Eschatos has 3 modes of play to take on: Original Mode, Advanced Mode, and Time Attack. Each is vastly different from the last in terms of gameplay mechanics and scoring, though the core mechanics are essentially the same. That said, it's actually worth it to play and master each one, which is kind of rare in its own right. So let's check out the gameplay before looking into the score hooks. The core mechanics are as follows. Your ship has access to a focused forward shot and a less powerful wide shot. Typically, the wide shot will also have less range. If you hold both fire buttons, you'll activate a bullet nullifying shield that can also be used offensively at what can only be described as suicidally close range. The control is sharp and responsive, and movement rates can be tweaked as well, though the default speed 3 feels just right at all times. In laying waste to your opposition, knowing how these weapons work against the wide variety of enemy types you'll face is key to progressing further in any mode you're playing in. Defeating as many enemies as possible will also get you faster extends, since they are dropped as a pickup after defeating fixed numbers of enemies. Just make sure to get them before they bounce off the screen. Now let's take a look at how the different modes handle mechanically and score-wise. Original Mode is the basic mode of play that has a fixed level 5 shot power and 100% capacity for your shields at all times. This mode has an emphasis on how fast you can defeat enemy waves on screen. So long as you don't miss any enemies in these waves, your multiplier will steadily rise, allowing for some really intense wave bonuses that, at times, can mount into the tens and even hundreds of thousands of points. If you die or miss an enemy though, your multiplier will decrease. Item carriers in this mode drop blue force pickups that clear weaker enemies and all shots off the screen as soon as you pick it up. This will also heavily damage larger enemies, allowing for faster kills. It's not a very deep mode of play, but it's still a heck of a lot of fun. Advanced Mode is where all the ridiculous depth comes in. This mode feels entirely different from the original, with progressive weapon power-ups and an entirely different scoring system. The first thing you'll need to pay attention to in this mode is how the power-up system works. If you power up your cannons, you will lose a portion of your shield capacity, dropping in increments of 10% for each level you go up. If you collect force pickups, you'll clear the screen of small enemies and bullets just like original, and your shield capacity will rise 10%. But your weapon power will level down. This constant power flux between cannons and shields makes the use of shield much riskier because of its reduced capacity. And that's not all. This flux also applies to scoring as well. When collecting weapon power, your multiplier will increase and decrease with force power-ups. You can also increase your multiplier by killing full enemy waves without missing any foes. Taking all of this into account, your bonuses will consist of nullified enemy bullets from force bursts and blocking shots with your shield. The bonus pickups look like small purple triangles and grow depending on the multiplier. These bonus pickups serve as more than just points though. They can also be used as an offensive weapon. As they orbit your ship while the shield is engaged, they will heavily damage any enemy ship they touch, bosses included. However, this will only work while the shield is engaged, which means proper shield management is crucial to this technique. This mode takes quite a bit more concentration than others, but once it's mastered, it's incredibly rewarding and a hell of a lot of fun to play. Finally, there's Time Attack mode. This mode has enemy fire patterns set pretty much to the hard difficulty and throws you into the fray with a set amount of time. You can increase your time by clearing area sets and collecting extends. If you're hit, you'll lose 5 seconds. It's possible to clear the game in this mode with enough practice and patience, but I can only get to area 20 as of this writing. Time Attack is a fantastic way to challenge yourself once you master the original and advanced modes. Eschatos knows it doesn't need to be weighted down by some deep plot or hackneyed story, so it keeps things pretty simple. Your typical flying saucer invasion is in full swing, and it's time to f*** up some alien scum. In 26 quick areas, your mission will be complete. Now, normally I'd knock a modern shmup for lack of visual panache, especially one from 2011, but Eschatos does it with style. It looks very reminiscent of an Naomi-style game, albeit with a fairly smooth polygon count and some fantastic effects, especially around the middle of the game. As for the sound, Eschatos is chock full of satisfying explosions and retro sound effects, from pickups to shots. It also features one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Seriously, I just can't get enough of this OST, which just so happens to have been included on a CD with this particular release. However, Eschatos also has a lot more to offer than an awesome AV package. As you complete more parts of the game and sink more time into it, additional menu options and difficulties will open up as well, which begs players to keep owning their skills to mastery. Truly great stuff. But that's not even all Eschatos has to offer. Included on the disc are the WonderSwan's holy shmup grails, Judgment Silversword and Cardinal Sins. On the WonderSwan, that would be over $400 worth of game. But that's another episode. Wink wink. I love this game. It has great mechanics, great presentation, fantastic extras, and excellent replayability. But how does it stack up? Let's take a look. Eschatos sure did take me for a loop when I played it hot off the heels of the likes of Bullet Soul and Dodonpachi Resurrection. And while I wasn't sure of what to think of it at first, the more I played it, the more it grew on me. So much so that I can easily say that it's probably one of my favorite games of all time. And with the sort of games that are coming out these days, that's a really rare thing for me to say. The control feels just right, the length is excellent with a ton of replay, the challenge is great with unlockable difficulties in an endless mode, the visuals and sound are deliciously retro, and the scoring between different modes are as diverse as they are addictive. Eschatos gets a 5 out of 5. Obtaining your copy of Eschatos might be a pricey endeavor. I got my copy for about $90. But if you're serious about your Xbox 360 shooters, you simply must track down and buy this amazing region-free import title.